Hey everybody, this is Great Black Swamp Talk, so we all may prosper. I have a very special guest with me today, running for City Council, District 5, Sam Melden. How you doing today, Sam?
I'm good. What an intro. That was quite the pronunciation of my name.
Yes. So, Sam, you're running for District 5, City Council.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So I'm running for District 5 City Council. I ran at large in 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running for City Council because my whole professional life has been about serving my community, serving my neighborhood, whether it was in nonprofit work or, it's been mainly nonprofit work. And I just feel like this is a continuation of that work. I think that, the real story is that back when I was at Food for Thought, we were feeding a large amount of people throughout the Northwest Ohio region. And I had a conversation with a mentor and really started to think about how long is this method, right? Food pantries and sack lunches on the weekends. How long is that the answer to food insecurity? How long is that the answer to hunger in our region? And I had never really thought about politics before, and they said, you're starting to ask about like policy questions, the things that make a difference in people's everyday life. Mm-hmm. And then I started to get a little more involved, and honestly, local politics has been, that's been my kind of entree into politics. I didn't start thinking about presidential stuff or following state level politics. For me, running for office is a continuation of serving my community.
Okay. So how many city council meetings have you attended, say, over the past year?
Yeah, I would say very few. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. It's hard to do that when you're working.
Yeah.
Which is not a problem just for me, it's a problem for everyone.
Right.
I think it's a problem that our city needs to face in terms of engaging people.
Okay.
I work a job.
Right.
And when you're working, it's hard to get to a meeting at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
Right.
Now, what I would say is that you have to kind of get creative and go the extra mile to stay involved in issues. Because the question you're asking isn't just about attendance. It's not simply about were you in the room. It's about are you engaged, are you paying attention? And I think through conversations with current city council members, I try to do my best at doing that. But quite frankly, unless I'm just happen to be in the room at the right time and I pop in for a second, very few.
If you were on city council, do you think you would look into changing the time of? There's some changing the time of city council so that more people could attend.
Yeah. Not only, so I think we should look at everything. Not only would I look at that, I think that they should hold one council meeting a year in each district. Hold the meeting where people gather, right? So District 5 has 2 libraries, so I could see one at Washington Branch or Sangerville Branch Library. Hold a council meeting there. Now, the tricky thing, and all my future, hopefully, colleagues on city council will say, we're about to invest, or they already have invested in this camera equipment to better broadcast, which I think is very important. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that that's the only way you can get people engaged.
Okay. If you were elected to city council, of course they have committees, different committees. Mm-hmm. What city council committee would you be most interested in serving on?
Yeah, I would be most interested in serving on a committee that does not exist yet.
Oh, so what would that be?
Yeah, because I think one of the ideas that I want to put forward to whoever the next council president is and how they structure it, currently Councilman Sherry, and I think that changes this next time they vote on a new president potentially. I think city council needs to have a transportation committee. So we've had a lot of conversations in our city about TARTA, but when you're talking about TARTA, you're simply talking about public transportation.
Right.
You're not only talking about buses and tarps and fixed line. You're not doing that. You're talking about public transportation. But there's a lot of other things that go into transportation in our community. Biking infrastructure. Right. I mean, in District 5, scooters. I know it sounds a little silly.
Yeah.
But scooters are popping up at UT.
I haven't had a chance to ride one yet, but I see them everywhere and they look like so much fun.
You know who else sees them? Neighbors of UT, and when they wind up in their front yard the next morning. So that's an interesting conversation we're having about what do we do with scooters? In different parts of the city, golf carts, right? So downtown you have golf carts riding all over the place. Well, how do we think about those things? And think about Uber and Lyft. What's our relationship to this kind of ride sharing program? Are we kind of encouraging them to follow the same rules that we would any other transportation company.
Okay.
So I think all of that comes together under a transportation committee. And you could say that that fits under public service, but we don't do that with water quality.
Okay.
We've said water is important enough to have its own committee, right?
Right.
You can just lump that under public service. So that's a committee I'd love to serve on.
Okay, one that's not there. I like the thinking out of the box with that particular question and answer. All right, let's talk about Toledo City Council and some of the decisions that they've made in the past. Can you give me an example of a decision or two that they've made in the past that you've strongly opposed?
Strongly opposed. I think strongly is the word that I might have to.
Okay.
Yeah, but opposed.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I'm really still struggling with is the decision around golf courses. Right. So golf in general in our country is the arrow's not pointing up on that as a business, right? Okay. Health systems are buying old golf courses to build hospitals. Like golf is it's deteriorating. I think it maps against when Tiger Woods started getting hurt and injured. People don't care anymore. Anyway, the point is, and I love golf. But so the city has 3 municipal golf courses: Collins Park on the east side, Detweiler up near Point Place, and then Ottawa Park, which is the oasis in the center of the city. I mean, Ottawa Park is a historic place.
Right.
I grew up playing golf at Collins. I was in a junior golf league there with Bill Strickland. Mr. Strickland was this amazing volunteer teacher. It was great. Every Tuesday morning throughout the summer, I'd go play in this golf league at Collins. But that doesn't, so my sentiment, my nostalgia doesn't mean it's a good business for the city to be in. Detweiler is across the street from another golf course. And then you have Ottawa Park. So I really struggle with the idea of saying it's important to our history and it's so valuable to our city, so let's take $700,000, not as a loan, but just as a kind of let's just invest in it to get them open after all the rain we had this year. My fear is that we're going to have this conversation multiple more times, and that $700,000 might look like a bad investment. So I would be curious about that. That's my daughter drawing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Everywhere I go, there's going to be a kid around probably.
Sorry.
But if you were to say, okay, what would you do differently? I would stop at virtually nothing to protect Ottawa Park. Okay, it's it's the oldest golf course west of the Hudson River. Okay, it's amazing, historic, and wonderful. It's the best. Yeah. Collins Park is struggling. Detweiler, we could look. That's a lot of land. Detweiler's a long course, so I think we might have to make some very difficult decisions. And so I struggle with that one, to be honest. The council voted to go for it, and I think I would have wanted to think about that more.
Okay. All right. What is something on city council over the past couple years or year that you have strongly supported?
I think that
or supported.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
No, I strongly support it. So recently, in the spring, they this was not in the news. It wasn't a big issue. They didn't have a lot of back and forth on it. But those are actually, I think, the types of decisions that make a bigger difference in the lives of most Toledoans, right? These are sometimes the decisions that don't get the headline,
right,
actually impact the most people. And in the spring, let's just round up to say the spring of this year, Council authorized a community reinvestment area in West Toledo, which is a majority of District 5, a lot of area in District 5. So this is going to allow that area to leverage some tax incentives related to the Community Reinvestment Act, which is a really, really, really big deal, to hold banks accountable for reinvesting in the communities that they have engaged with in proven inappropriate ways. And City Council voted to make this area of District 5 a community reinvestment area. That's going to be really, really big when you think about local businesses. One of the things that I'm really interested in is economic development, but we have to do that at the neighborhood level. Right. And that piece of policy, that decision, allows us to do that.
This is Great Black Swamp Talk. Remember, swamp up or sit down so we all may prosper. Peace.
Follow Golden Rule Mack on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And don't forget to vote September 10th.